gang violence and other kind of violence.
Get away! I could be at work, at school, in my car, I can still get shot by the police, but I can get shot anywhere.
So it is what it is.
What's good, Shadow Realm? It's a Black Gen Z Mindset. Make sure you go ahead and like, comment, share, subscribe, and let's get into the video.
Another robbery spree. Armed robbers targeting people all over the city.
Police alerting people about dozens and dozens of these robberies over the last few weeks. Tonight, only on two, one of the victims shares his terrifying encounter with our Maribel Gonzalez.
It's a scene replaying in many parts of the city. Armed robbers targeting people on the street.
By the time I realized what's happening, they're already on the grass. The guy has an AK in my face.
This one happened on August 4th in Humboldt.
Woo! So they running up with full sticks, AKs, and they catching you slipping. These super gremlins are on demon time.
Park to Eli Diaz, and it was caught on camera.
But it sounded like that happened so quickly.
They didn't even have time to think. I would have ran.
Eli and his neighbors were out.
And if you would have ran, they would have gunned you down. Now, thankfully, they didn't gun him down after robbing him, because a lot of these super gremlins, they'll take what you have and then they'll kill you, or they'll shoot you in the leg, like that other story we covered. So you can't win for losing.
At the time because they had heard gunshots nearby and wanted to see what was going on.
As we're walking back, we stop right here where this post is. We're talking, and all of a sudden the car just pulls up on us.
You can see it here. Two masked men jump out of that car, one of them with a gun tied to his wrist with a bandana.
He got close to my face, and I was like, dude, you can have whatever you want, man. Just don't put the gun down. You don't have to put it in my face.
Eli says it got even more tense when his neighbor didn't want to give up her purse.
He grabs it, and she resisted. And that's when he kind of lightly hits her in the face.
No one was seriously hurt. The gunman getting away with the purse and Eli's cell phone. To Eli, what was perhaps more shocking than the robbery itself was just how young they appeared to be.
I heard their voices. I heard the one to my left. I was like, he's a kid. Puberty hasn't even hit this kid yet.
And I mean, while you over here smiling for it, these kids will murder you and not think twice about it. These super teen gremlins are on demon time.
He sounded like a baby.
All minors, says Eli, but probably not first timers.
And the cops are telling us that we were the 9th person to get hit at that point, to get robbed. They were more than likely saying it was the same crew.
So far, no arrest. The incident now leaving Eli shaken.
I walk around, and I can't believe I'm saying this, but I'm going to be more scared when I see kids walking around than I do adults.
And demanding action.
These kids are roaming the streets for hours.
Yep, and their mothers cannot control them, like I said. The fathers are nowhere to be found. So these super teen gremlins are taking matters into their own hands. And it is ruining not only the city of Chicago, but Illinois as a state, along with policies and revolving door policing. It's just a recipe for disaster.
What about the parents? Do you not know where your kid's at? Your 12-year-old kid? That bothers me. What are we doing as adults? We're just gonna let it happen?
In Humboldt Park, Maribel Gonzalez, CBS 2 News.
Well, good morning. The investigation continues in all of these cases. The youngest victim was 16-year-old Rashaun Hood. Now, he's the grandson of a community activist who for more than 20 years has been advocating for an end to violence.
Woo! 20 years advocating for an end to the violence in Chicago. Hasn't gotten anywhere so far. All right. And this is a norm in the community, because you cannot speak on these issues that we are facing in the Black community every day. They go unaddressed. And also, you know, you get shamed for speaking on topics like this. You get shamed for shedding a light on what's actually going on out here in these streets. All right. And it's not right. And this continues to lead to the perpetuation of this violence in the community. But, you know, the community, they really don't care. They are willing to, they're willing to sacrifice everything just to save face and be right in an argument and be able to displace the blame onto someone else or the system or whatnot. And yes, there are systematic issues, but also there are other issues that need to be addressed internally, individually, that we're not doing.
It triggers me back to why I started doing this part of the ministry in the first place, and help the community that are suffering generation after generation from gun violence.
Since Friday night, police say at least 16 people have been reported shot in Woodlawn, West Pullman, Auburn Gresham, Chicago Lawn, Englewood, North Lawndale, and the Loop. In Little Village on Sunday morning around 1:25, officers responded to a call of a person shot. Once on scene, they found a 29-year-old male in a flipped-over vehicle with a gunshot wound to the head.
Damn.
He was transported to Mount Sinai Hospital in critical condition and later died from his injuries. Officials say the youngest victim was 16-year-old Rashaun Hood, who was found on the sidewalk with a gunshot wound to his chest. He was transported to Comer Children's Hospital, where he was pronounced dead.
That's why we have got to stand up as a human society and denounce this. If more and more people get...
So, I mean, he's, you know, now it's, oh, we're all one, we're all human. Before it was identity politics. No, this isn't a human society problem. It's a black issue. So keep it a buck. This is a solely, this is us. This is on us to fix, not no human society. This is an internal battle that we must triumph over. Otherwise, you know, we're headed down a dark path.
Numb to violence, the worse we'll become.
Pastor Hood will host a press conference later this morning. He's expected to announce a reward for any information that leads to an arrest or conviction in his grandson's case. Reporting live at police headquarters, Christine Flores, WGN News.
Yo, what's good, BGZM News 17 family? I'm at the corner of Jesse Jackson and Marcus Garvey, and I got some bad news for you. As you can see, I lost my job. I'm out here living in cardboard boxes outside of boarded up vacant homes. YouTube said I'm done getting money out here in these streets. They even took my funky ass suit. So anything right now would help. So go ahead and hit that Cash App, hit that PayPal, hit that GoFundMe. Hell, cop the merch. Or if you want to make the long-term commitment to the Jinquavius Jackson Fund, join the Patreon so that I can continue to put out top-notch content each and every day. Also, check out the Rumble, where there is absolutely no censorship. Link in the description box below.
Hey, yo, ain't that nigga Jinquavius? Yo, I recognize.
No, that's not me no more.
Hey, yo, run your pocket.
Y'all killing me with this shit.
Nigga. Do the opposite of Antonio Brown and take
What
all your
more
store.
do you want from me?
The victims range in ages from 16 to 50 years old. The youngest victim was shot here in the Auburn Gresham neighborhood.
Tiny man, as we call him, Rashaun is his name, always was a short in stature, even when he was little. Good kid, on the basketball team, baseball team, just an all-around kid, high school kid.
So I'm going to take Gramps' word for it, all right, and assume that he's telling the truth about this kid and he was a good kid, and obviously that's what he's supposed to say. But this grandfather, he has participated in violence intervention in the community for the longest. And now he's kind of coming to a point where things really hit home for him. So very sad situation. Hopefully his kid was not involved in, you know, the gang culture, because we all know where that leads. But you know, it sounds like they're trying to paint the picture of wrong place, wrong time. Not necessarily convinced.
Reverend Robin Hood has spent more than 20 years advocating for an end to violence, and on Friday night, it all hit too close to home when his 16-year-old grandson was shot and killed. Pastor Hood met us near the scene at 81st and Racine.
It triggers me back to why I started doing this part of the ministry in the first place and help the community that are suffering generation after generation from gun violence.
Rashaun was one of more than 14 people reportedly shot this weekend and one of more than half a dozen who died from their injuries. Police say the victims range in ages between 16 and 50 years old. All of the cases are still under investigation.
Somebody's seen something. And not only for my grandson, but any case. We have got to tell on these killers and we cannot let them roam.
Woo! So he is advocating for snitching. That's pretty much a death sentence in the community. So I hope he's got a concealed carry license, because what he's saying right now, it could cost him his life.
Freely.
In Rashaun's case, police say the teen was found on the sidewalk with a gunshot wound to his chest. He was transported to Comer Children's Hospital, where he was pronounced dead.
I want the community to remember that he was a basketball player. He stayed on the honor roll in school. He was just like any other youth.
The investigation continues into all of these cases. Anyone with information is asked to contact police. Reporting in Auburn Gresham neighborhood, Christine Flores, WGN News.
Well-known community activist who responds to violence and consoles victims' families, seeking his own justice tonight after the murder of his grandson this weekend.
WGN's Sean Lewis joins us from the newsroom with his message tonight. Sean.
Simon and Micah, many people are familiar with the Reverend Robin Hood. Over the weekend, his 16-year-old grandson fell victim to Chicago's gun violence epidemic. And today, a reward being offered to find the person responsible. On a steamy Monday morning,
this killing did not have to happen.
Chicago faith leaders turned up.
And this is what they pretty much say about every killing in Chicago. It's not working. You know, the faith leaders, oh, this shouldn't have happened. This ain't supposed to happen. It's just not lining up, okay? Because the community is completely broken. All right, the faith leaders are corrupt, sold out to the Democratic Party, and they really don't care as long as them tithes and offerings is coming through.
Up the heat to find a murderer.
Let us stand together and let's fight this thing the right way.
3 days since the 16-year-old grandson of the Reverend Robin Hood was shot in the chest and killed at 81st and South Racine. A $10,000 reward being announced today to find the gunman.
Yesterday, me and my son walked the street and we seen blood crying from the ground. Not only my grandson's blood, not only my DNA blood, but many youth and adults on the south side of Chicago have been killed right here in this street.
Rashaun Hood was a student at Collins Academy High.
I'm sorry, but didn't we vote for this? Didn't we demand that the police get out of our neighborhoods and we can do it ourselves and da-da-da-da? Well, this is the result. The community is not emotionally mature enough to handle law and order, legislation, just as a whole. I'm not saying one individual can't, but as a whole, we're not there yet where we're in a position to call the shots ethically. I'm just going to keep it a buck. The train of thought and the logic behind these scenarios and the excuses that are given for these scenarios show how little, and I'm watching my words carefully, how we're just not ready to be in these leadership positions. And as you can see with Mayor Brandon Johnson, he's a shining example of, you know, if you're just voting with or for your skin color, then these are the results that you're going to get.
High school and was with friends when someone opened fire about 10:15 Friday evening. His murder, one of 6 in Chicago over the weekend that included a total of 33 people shot. According to Chicago police, 220 Chicagoans under 18 have been shot so far this year.
This corner over here has been a problem for a long time. I've been for at least 5 shootings on this corner that I know.
In the gap for this family, God. We lift them up before you, Father.
Behind every shooting is the pain of reality, one that these faith leaders say can never be normalized.
We cannot become immune to this madness.
Somebody saw something. That's right. Somebody heard something. That's right. So turn yourself in. Or for God's sake, the friends who know about it, the neighbors who watched it, somebody driving by or somebody walking by saw it, turn them in.
Again, a $10,000 reward being offered today for information leading to the person who shot Rashaun. Chicago police continue to look for suspects in this case. If you have any information, you can contact CPD directly or file an anonymous tip at cpdtip.com.
Gang violence and other kind of violence.
Anyway.
So it is what it is.